Hello, I'm here. We're back on the plot. It's Thursday the 16th, early afternoon. It's about 8 degrees. The weather's been wet, very cold. We've had some bitter cold, all day frosts. But we haven't had snow, we haven't had that awful rain that they've had in the Midlands. Now I promised to talk to you about all the leaves and the grass. I'll explain where it comes from in a second, but let's pick you up for a second. Take you out the there we go. Let me turn you around. Boop. There we go. So why have I stuck tons and tons of leaves down here instead of composting it? Well, I did an episode about how you ought to treat your compost like cooking, because I'm not suggesting you taste it or eat it, but you do need to look after it. You need to, you know, when you're cooking, you go out and you check for you know, if it needs any condiments, salt, pepper, seasonings. You make sure it doesn't dry out. You make sure the temperature's right. Well, it's much the same with compost. You need to look after it. One of the biggest issues that we have with our composting is we don't look after it. We put it in a big heap and we leave it. And what happens is that the composting process isn't as fast as it could be. We don't actually make sure that there's enough weeds coming through, that there's enough carbon there, that there's enough oxygen, enough water, moisture in there. So, and we're pretty bad on it. People don't touch their composting at all. They put it in the bins, and you know, like a year later they look in there and they wonder why it's not as good as everybody else's. So I have a friend, and I'll show you his plot in a second, right over on the other side, who does this. He gets in all of the other people's leaves, weeds, cuttings, grass cuttings, and he puts them on his plot and he just leaves them, and he turns them over like I was doing, making sure that they that there's no clumping. One of the problems is with grass is that it will form a clump. This is good stuff, but let's find one to show you. And the trouble is, if you don't break up that clump, it will stay as it is, and it will actually become a waterproof layer like this. You see, it'll become a waterproof layer, stopping the water from the rains and all the nutrients from what's above it soaking down into the soil. And again, you see, look at that. So you rake it, you break it up, and you make sure that it's covering everything. Now, you wouldn't believe it, but this had as much grass as that did during the summer. Same over here. All this was like a foot high with grass and leaves. But as you see, it's breaking down. The worms are having a field day. They're really enjoying it. So when it comes to the end of the year, I'll just scrape aside, do my seed planting. If I feel that there's going to be an extra frost coming in the spring, when I say the end of the year, I said the beginning of the growing season, I meant. If I feel that there's a need, I can cover it over, keep the ground insulated. Right, let's have a look. You see, some of my neighbours are real old-fashioned diggers. This gentleman is in his 80s. Look at it, that's the biggest plot there. And he makes such a fantastic effort digging it over each year. He puts manure on it each year. There's his manure pile. He gets a load delivered each year. This plot was left vacant all year. It was a terrible job, but the new tenant who's taken over, I'll talk about this at a later date, but the new tenant that's moved in has started off with a fantastic job of digging everything over. another load of manure delivered. That'd be spread over and dug in. He rotivates it. You can see the tractor marks digging up the path. Right, this is what I mean about the gentleman. This is only part of what he does. I'll show you some more in a second. But look, he just throws everything on there. And I tell you what, he has some of the biggest vegetables on this site. It's all natural. He doesn't use any artificial. He doesn't use cow manure or anything. He's had a recent fire. You can see it's still smoking. But everything he does literally turns to gold, although he does have some issues. This is somebody else's part here. I'll show you his second area. You can tell how often he's here. Look at the path. He comes down every day. So this is his second area. He has a little wood fire and he burns all the wood. See people bringing down stuff. But everything, he just piles it up, he lets it rot. It's a bit of a hodgepodge. He does get complaints, but there's no arguing with his results. You see, he just throws everything on there. Right, so people bring him stuff, or he goes around and collects it from other people. He's got a little bicycle, planting out there. He's got a little bicycle with a trailer. So where do I get my stuff from? Well, let's go back to the bungalow and I'll show you my garden. Right, so here we are, back at the bungalow. Here's the bungalow, my little abode. I'll show you my garden. This is it. This entire area is what I now call my garden. It's a communal garden. We all pay for it out of our service fees. I'll talk about that in a second. It's a horror story. But let me show you on a quick Google map the size and the space, and you see the trees. So this is every week I cut the grass. Yeah, I'm shaking, it's cold. Every week I cut the grass, and obviously during the autumn I've collected all the leaves up. I say during the week, obviously when the weather's permitting. I don't do it over the winter period, but during the summer I was out here every week for a couple of hours. What I've done, I used money that the government gave us to buy a Black & Decker 36 volt battery driven mower. I'll show you it sometime. It's buried in the shed at the moment. It takes exactly the same batteries as the strimmer that I bought, and you know I love my strimmer. The Black & Decker is very easy to use, very powerful for a domestic strimmer. Oh, look, cat, don't let my cat see it. Yeah, so very easy to use, and of course having extra batteries is great. So I've got 5 batteries in total now for the and I can do about half of this entire area with 4 batteries. And it takes about an hour and a half to recharge them, so I do it over 2 days usually. Right, now the service charge. Let me show you this area again and show you the rough square footage. Right, so there are 19 bungalows like mine in a almost a quadrant. And there's one house, as you see behind me, just here, and a communal room, a communal lounge, which is just here. Oh, you can't see it with my fingers here, just here, this communal lounge. We pay, each abode, each resident pays £8.75 a week, and it's a 53-week year, for the pleasure of having somebody to come and cut the grass. Now that's 9,200 quid and change per annum we pay between us. They came a total of 9 times last year. They were meant to come 16. I have complained bitterly and I got nowhere. I was told to take it through the judicial system, not the courts, the judicial system. There's a special place where you can go to talk about service charges and fairness and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm not happy. And of course it was a lousy job. 9 times in the wet and voraciously hungry growing year that we had. No wonder I have so much on the allotment, all that grass and cuttings and stuff. Anyway, that's it. So yeah, composting. Try a different way. Try spreading it around in the autumn and then putting it in the bins in the spring, rather than just heaping it all in the bins. A good mulch, that's what ground likes. Is a good insulator. The worms love it. They'll keep warmer, and you'll keep the ground from becoming bleached. Pump. Yeah, you'll keep the ground from becoming bleached and rain leached. What I mean by that is when it rains heavy, it washes nutrients and things down into the subsoil. So yeah, a good mulch. Try it. See you later. Bye.